Hello and welcome back to the VidyaBox and welcome back to Bastard Bonds. Welcome back to My Thick Dong and welcome back to the Bouncy Castle. And I don't fucking know. But I started this game straight back up because I asked if there was like even one hint as to King's Tomb across the whole map, and I was told, yes, there has been, and it's kind of intended for you to just dismiss it as unimportant. We found it in Spartil Lodge, apparently, and I don't remember it, so let's go and explore. And if you remember, this was Spartil's old lodge. We bought Beauregard here, but we don't really need him in the party anymore. Kurillo, my babe, comes with me, even though I'm married at this point. I'm sure Nazar doesn't fucking mind. There we go, I thought my game had crashed for a second. Bizarre. Right, so there is, I need to really pay attention to the hints right now. It's either in these bookcases or it's on the table in there. So I did come across it, but I always just kind of, I don't really like solidify these things to mind, and so I have a feeling that when we came here, this must have been at least like a certain amount of months ago. This is penned in a straightforward hand with a little flourish. Though some of the pages have faded and bled, it's all still quite legible. These appear to be accounts of hunting expeditions, descriptions of where the men went, landmarks they observed, and game they spotted, and of course chases and hunts themselves. Knowing that Spartil came here at the Queen's behest, you analyse the journal carefully. The final entry in this journal mentions chasing the babe. The babe is apparently quite far away, but it looks as though he and his band expected to get there quickly, based on the amount of supplies they prepared. At the bottom, conspicuously, is written the phrase, "Mother, Mother, remember me." It seems to be a final farewell. Right, well, Mother, Mother, remember me. That's 3 items. Yep. Yeah, buddy, we got this, I think. I think we got this. If not, I'm a stupid fuck. I mean, I'm probably gonna get it wrong once or twice, aren't I? So let's return to the stronghold just to, like, make the trip quick. And back to King's Tomb. We got this. We got this, guys. Thanks for the hint, Cap. Mother, Mother, remember me. So, we need 2 mothers and then someone to remember. And I think one of these graves says, only the worms remember me. Mother Vader, who suffered so others need not. Place 1. So I was kind of in the right area. I was going with, like, the theme of Mother. There we go! Yes! Yes. See, it's just that simple, but I would have been just scouring the entire map for that. Thanks for the hint, Cap. I kind of stuck. Right. So, you know, the whole chasing the babe thing. So I had this explained to me. You have the wet nurse, and then you have, the babe. This island is the Isle of Babe, right? Does that not sound very Bloodborne to you? And, you know, both of those games, like, have the initials BB. No. And, this was entirely coincidental. Because, Cap hasn't played Bloodborne. So, I find that really amusing. Alright, so let's go to the Bath, Polyandrium. The marble halls of this exquisite tomb are alive with a tense energy. Something tremendous lurks within. Let's go in and just hope that we're not instantly forced into a cutscene. Okay, the doors close behind you as you step into the opulent structure. There's no going back now. Great. Alright, Vanken's bond. Vanken. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to go with this. There's not really that much illumination, save for the illumination I have on my golden mask. So we're gonna have to just deal with that. So this is our final party. Our final lovely party. I should have saved the game. Are you surprised to see me? This place is further removed from the rules of your world than most, so I can briefly manifest enough to make my voice heard. To you, anyway. Your companions can't see me or hear me, but that is a choice rather than a limitation. I understand that making a deal with a devil is something one might wish to keep private. Let's see who you've decided to bring along. Are you really certain that bringing the batty old doomsayer to face down a literal and actual divine beast is a good idea? He seems as liable to kneel and worship as to fight. Then again, once you've seen him, maybe you'll want to kneel and worship too. It's been known to happen. Fuck you, Barrod. Ah, tatters and skin. It's a timeless look. And I do like my would-be heroes wearing as little as possible. That one's fun, but I'm not certain he really has the ferocity you're going to need here. I'd say that you must know something here I don't, but frankly, that's not possible. Are you also fond of wall of meat barbarian types? I could tell. You must ensure that no matter what happens, that orc is never, ever allowed to wear a shirt. Write it into lore if you must. Ensure that this one survives, will you? I couldn't bear to see him damaged. I see. Well, I suppose that's the best team you could put together, given the circumstances. It'll have to do. Now, enough chit-chat. I would love to see him talk about, like, fucking Waden, the dog, and... I have disturbed the delicate harmony of the holy chains, and as such, they will crumble when struck. The chains are anchored at 15 points throughout this temple. Destroy those, and he will be able to slip free of the remaining chain on his own. I have tried to speak with him, to inform him of our plan, and spare you the rigors of combat, but the chains dull my voice. He knows only rage, hears no reason, and he will lash out at every turn. Break his arms if you must, but leave him alive. Once all the anchors are broken, I will be able to speak clearly with him, soothe his rage, and negotiate our terms. For as long as you remain on this island and work toward building a kingdom, you will have serendipitous fortune and health. I already do. As will your successors. 500 years worth, as promised, and then the crown is mine. Shall we get started? I'll be watching. You know what? I need to ask a question. Alright, so I asked my questions, and, well, I'm gonna be a bad boy, I think. So, we have this task set before us, and, well, we have two potential endings that we can, go for. And one is a straightforward, I guess kill the demon thing? Sorry, kill Leviathan. One is to do as Barrod says. There's a sigil on the floor, lit in glittering silver, dust and... Can you guys hear that motorbike? There's a sigil on the floor, lit in glittering silver dust and ringed with unburnt cones of incense. When you step inside, an aura of serene calm washes over you. Lighting the incense will heal one person fully, but you will not be able to use it more than once. We don't need that shit. Okay, right. I guess we can come back if we do get fucked up, but the question is, are we gonna get fucked up? There's a satchel here with a notched spear, and the corpse has been here long enough and that it's hardened and turned black. Strangely, the moisture hasn't destroyed it. I guess this would have been, oh shit, what if we bring Berigod here? Is one of these like, Spartil? This is written in a large, unsteady hand across many pages. Whoever did this wanted to ensure that his writing survived the passage of time. What the fuck is that noise? Of all the times when I want to fucking do something. Good lord. Good lord, good lord. Even so, these pages are badly damaged. They are legible, but they crumble as you turn them. You can only read this once. I am Maxim Spartel, yap, Lord Consort of Her Royal Highness Queen Glamig Kasova of Lakat, and I am slain. I come here at my lady wife's bidding, to try and broker a deal with Leviathan, a divine creature that dwells neath our island. There are many centuries of history between the royal family and he, and, we thought to seek his aid. Hear my warning. Do not try to reason with Leviathan. I am married into the royal family, and he would hear me not. He is no creature of reason, but one of passion and godly rage. And he is himself the source of much of our island's suffering. If you enter here, do it to destroy him. I drew his blood myself, so I am certain he can be slain. Alas, my fellows were cut down, and I was mortally wounded. There is little more I can do but pen this warning with my final hours. At least I'll have a grand grave. To die in the tomb of King Chevra is no small thing. Better still to be buried with my brothers, though. You know what, I think... so I'm going for the bad ending now. I think for the good ending, I'll try this dungeon once again, but I'll bring Beauregard. The men I brought were skilled individually, but there was no bond of trust between us, and the Leviathan tossed us aside easily. I wish Luke and Fasthead had been here. I always felt like the three of us could accomplish anything together. Mayhap Fasthead's endeavour will bear sweeter fruit. Mine tastes only of blood. So, this is what's left of that fabled hero, Maxim Spartil. I'd have liked to meet him. I understand that in life he was powerful, beautiful, and charismatic. Fuck you. Shame he had such trouble thinking outside of his tiny little box. He could not reason with Leviathan, because he could offer Leviathan no reason to listen. I, however, have many reasons. Clear the noise and let us make him listen. Yeah, I mean, I part of me is doubting that he actually did have, any, like, other lines. But, still, that'd be pretty cool to bring him here. What is this? You aren't gonna win. Hands. Right, so, I doubt that these are the anchors. Right? No, this is just Leviathan. Okay. So, there are these anchors all over this place, and, I guess we can rush around killing them all, but at the same time, just...
999!
You know, we've got Kardak power. Oh, that's good. Good. I like it. Can't risk... We can't reach him from here. We have to have a weapon with reach, or... No. We just have to have, like, a certain position. Right. We do have everybody's, safety equipped. But, yeah, I think we're gonna just march into the bad ending, and then go straight on to the good. Well, I doubt if it's even good or not, to be honest. This ain't worrying at all, is it? Okay, so... We have to be very careful here about, lighting and stuff. So I can't go through here, because of these guys. Or at least I'm guessing that I can't. And I can't go through here. You know what, it's probably a bad idea to have you guys here in the first place, so I'm gonna go alone. You motherfucker! Okay, well, at least we have some smoked tenderloin. Okay, you do have to be very particular about this. Alright, Kardak's fine now. By switching this, braziers are on. The puzzle is a little bit more simple, and one of those statues has moved. Which means I have to go back that way. Or at least, I don't think I actually have to. No, I guess I don't. It just means that my allies can come a different way. Ow. Great, I got a war sickle. I really needed that. So that deals a set 50 damage, which is decent amount. Okay, now that we're all safe. Just one by one, we're gonna have to bring our companions back to us. I like that. A very simple puzzle. If there's anything in a game that like always just kind of ruins it for me, it's when a puzzle is just like far too complex. I like it when it's very much just like something's looking at you, asshole, and it sees you and you're dead. You know. I guess it's because in a way I like mazes and stuff the same way that I like word searches and bullshit like that. Does that make sense? It shouldn't. I don't think. Word searches has nothing to do with mazes. I like very simple, down-to-earth problem solving, basically. Something that any old idiot like me can pick up. Right, so we have some kind of, well, it's not a throne room. Chairs right next to like a tomb. A casket. Casket? It's not a casket, it's like more of a sarcophagus. Ah, here we are again. Well, I did say I liked these, didn't I? Wonder how many squares they have on their range. So this is locked, so let's go south a little bit. Let's see if we can see anything. I mean, is that one gonna hit us? It's not. Okay, maybe his vision's blocked. This might be a brazier thing. There's one right there. So if I go up here... Yes, and then... 2 this way. Well, I guess it wasn't the braziers, but... they help. The illumination on the golden masks and such, you know... in certain areas it's not gonna be all you need, so... See, I'm no Minotaur, but I like little things like that. So here's a Divine Anchor. There's 2 Divine Anchors in here, and we did all that for nothing, because that's not really what we want to do. Okay, shit. Well, I've just wasted some of my time, and probably some of my health by getting hit by some of these things. But hey, it's fine, you know. I imagine there is a more simple way to do all this. I imagine there is just a way straight to fight Leviathan, and I'm just missing it. I'm missing the blatant open doors. Man, this is going to be really upsetting getting the bad ending, because I've played See No Evil, the porno game, and well, that had some sad fucking miserable endings that just kind of killed all kind of mood for you, you know? Like, completely. So, what do we have here? We have a rotor. And this rotor opens up those doors. So, you know, with a game that he's taking very seriously and not, like, essentially making a porn game out of it. Well, this is gonna be traumatic. I can just taste it. I can taste the sadness. Can I reach him? Yeah, I can. I can't do 999 points of damage to him, though. What was the pity? Yeah, I can get you from there. And that was enough. Excellent. 249 damage for saying it's, like, scaled up to level, 100. I can imagine that if you're playing on, band mode, it's, well, that's gonna be quite, achievable. That's gonna be doable, you know. So you can go through either of these places, I think, to... I like that the boss music is playing in every single room now. It's fitting. Can I reach him from here? Yes, I can.
999!
That's 2! Yeah, Betty B. I really wish there was a clearer recording of Brian Butterfield's 999, because I love that so much. But unfortunately, the only thing I can really get is like a YouTube video. Ah, fuck. Jesus. Who recorded that? Yeah, I guess I'll blast it and he'll just be like, fuck, what are you trying to do? Cast music on me. Cast... Oh, I called magic music. Oh, why are you casting music on me? Kardak ain't no bard, baby. He ain't no bard. This is locked, so I assume we're gonna need a lever. A lever or braziers or an infuriating puzzle. Honestly, Mother, remember me. That's, yeah, I wish I'd paid attention to that a lot more. That was a really good one. And I wasn't really far off it, was I? I've been patting myself on the back for that for ages. I almost solved something all on my own. Almost. So, one lever here. I guess, hitting the arms that come out of the water isn't really gonna affect him, really. Like, you know, we can do that without any kind of, repercussions. Oh, Jesus! He's unaware, but since we, like, auto-moved here, they're unaware for us as well. I can't get him just yet. There we go. No, reach isn't good enough. There we go. So yeah, just as long as this isn't, like, outright killing him. Oh, he's been disarmed, but he hasn't been disarmed of his lifeguard. I think that's, what the lifeguard's supposed to protect against. But, you know, I could be wrong. I don't know. I do know that I fumbled. Which, yeah, I mentioned a little bit about, Busted Bonds 2. The one thing that made me laugh is that, fumbling... I won't go into specifics, but... fumbling is real bad in, or at least it's planned to be real bad in the second game. Obviously everything is subject to change, but the way I had it described to me, imagine if in Divinity Original Sin 2 you just lose all of your physical armor and shit like that for botching. I think that's what it was. So this has been unlatched. I guess let's just go forward and just see what we can fight before we actually do the dungeon proper.
999!
That's 3! Oh man, we're getting all the crits. It's a shame that we're going into misery. So that would be another anchor. Is this door now open? There's a latch here, but for some reason the walls are in the way. Okay. It's a good thing that those tiles were there, otherwise I would never have seen that. Like, never. Okay. Can we just go straight forward? Barod's probably gonna berate the fuck out of us as well for just fighting him. I'm fully aware of that. Out of the brine rises the head and torso of Leviathan, at once bursting with power and helplessly restrained. His eyes, perhaps once intelligent, are glazed with impotent rage. Sorry, Daddy, but you're not doing the world any favors the way you are now. If it's gotta be you or us, it's gonna be you. This one will be a story for the kids I'll never get to have. The day Daddy took down the biggest boss of the sea, everyone's talking about Daddy. Oh, to raise arms against you, Lord Leviathan. I would have been your disciple if not for such rage. We got boss music, ladies and gents. He's got a lure. Well, why did I put Carrillo in front? Don't die! Don't... It's not permitted that you die, okay? You are not permitted to die. Can I just get all the way around there? I've got no risk for moving, so... Well, I've got things to take care of then. Shit. So he's got vigor, so I guess he can dodge a little bit more. He's disarmed from... Icarus is disarmed. I see. So there's a bunch of anchors, and you're supposed to destroy all of these anchors as well. I get that. Good fight. Oh, he fumbled. God damn it. I fumbled as well. Okay. Righty-ho. Let's get our bow back. And now that we know that we don't need to, you know... Oh, bloody hell! 530! He's almost dead! Okay. Alright, so now I know what to do if I want to, get the better ending. You need to, so there's, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8, so we need to get, like, another 4. I think he said there were 12? Or the 15, I don't remember. I think we'll be fine. Whose turn is it now? It's, he's invulnerable. We've just healed him. Wonderful. At least we can steal money from the great and powerful Leviathan, you know. Damn it, everyone's fumbling. I guess we could just make attacks until we're, And he's protected. Yep, that's the instant death. That's the murder beam. And Nazar's bond is gone. Really? No, it's just been disarmed. It's just been disarmed. Alright, okay. Well, thank fuck for that. Jesus. Alright. Well, there ain't nothing to do now but to just kind of defend for a little while. Let's pick that back up, re-equip that. Because we don't want the Tsar dying, oh no, oh no. Dear me, no. That wouldn't do. So, let's just keep making attacks until he loses his invulnerability. Oh, he can't do anything. Great. Really, Nazar should have been here. Oh, yeah, we made him... We shouldn't be making him fumble, because the more he fumbles, the longer his invulnerability is. Okay, so, well, yeah, all of our lifeguards are equipped.
999!
And that's that. With a final decisive strike, Leviathan's body goes limp and he slips down into the pool, clouds of his divine blood murking the water. The battle is over. What a brutal disappointment. That brand you wear as a pale shade to next to the crime you've just committed. Is mercy truly so far outside of your understanding? I cannot say whether you are defiant or simply incapable, but it scarcely matters. You've put an end to you, a unique and beautiful creature who, frankly, had more of a right to exist than you do. And for what? The short, furtive life of a fugitive? Take your freedom then, since you desire it so badly, and leave the island to mourn its father. He will stir the seas nevermore. Time for the bad ending, ladies and gents. With the death of the Leviathan, the seas and skies surrounding the island went eerily calm, as though mourning the loss of their master. A few weeks of searching eventually turned up a ship at the miser's purse that could be made seaworthy with a little work. So you relocated your stronghold one last time and made it your project. When the work was complete, your band piled on and nervously set out into the calm sea, and before long, the island of Lukat was a distant speck on the horizon as you sailed for the Orc nation of Sarath. After leading such a large band of people, returning to a regular life, civilian life seemed dull, so instead you travelled to a small community on the frontiers of Sarath, where bands of nomads roamed and survival was hard fought. There, you built a modest homestead for yourself, and you lived out your days working for a satisfying life that felt well earned. Most of the people you counted among your band went their separate ways. Borgnina threw away her raiments before the boat landed in Sarath. Though her faith in her god was shaken, her faith in her order had been long since exhausted, and she no longer wished to identify with them. Instead, she took it upon herself to exemplify her faith personally and live her life more freely than she had before. She took a home in a slum by choice and tried her best to be an uplifting influence to the downtrodden people surrounded her. And after a few years, she even married a strong orc who adored her adamant spirit. Life for Borgnina is not how she imagined it, but she claims she has no regrets. Beto, a devoted friend to the very core, was always close at hand once you arrived in Sarath. Though he sometimes bordered on overbearing, he always put on a bright face and kept after you to take care of yourself. Sorry, had trouble reading that. And having him nearby made the transition into your new life easier. He made a point of helping out with repairs, construction, and hunting in your new home whenever an opportunity arose, and eventually attracted the attention of a few bright-eyed young orcs who followed him around like lost pups. He managed to shape them up into a freelance labor crew, and he seems happy to be the center of their attention. Yeah, I'll bet. Kirillo, feeding his ever-present need to fight for the downtrodden, found his place in Sarath at one of the many orphanages, where his kind and selfless attitude was quickly appreciated. He earns coins by working a runner most days, and then returns home to his boys and to Agatha, who's growing more fond of him by the day. It isn't nearly as dramatic a life as he is used to, but he conceives that perhaps he has had enough life and death drama for one lifetime, and seems content to settle down. Paul was excited to be part of all the activities surrounding your departure, and it wasn't until you were out at sea already that he started having second thoughts. You managed to talk him down, however, and when he finally arrived at Sarath, Paul drew less attention than he had expected. Though not exactly common, many of the people there had seen their share of giants already, and when he found himself available for labour jobs, he quickly found himself with as much work as he could handle. Being part of a community was a new experience for Paul, but he found it to his liking, and he soon moved into a permanent home of his own construction in a small frontier town, where he remains busy and content. Yes, Nazar was obviously distressed at the idea of going back to Sarath, but he held your hand tightly as the view of the island grew distant across the water. When you arrived in the mainland, he was surprised to find the Sarathi common folk showing a great deal of support and sympathy for those bearing the scapegoat brand. Without the need to live a secluded life, Nazar became a social member of the rural community, where the two of you lived, and you were eventually married in a small temple, according to Sarathi traditions. I should fucking hope so! Do you know how much that fucking thing hurt in my stomach? You live together in a cottage. Nice, I like cottages. That you built with help from your neighbours, and probably Paul, and your life is both simple and fulfilling. Vanken was nearly catatonic with grief after you emerged from the bath. You spent a lot of time comforting him and helping him work through it, and when you finally concluded that Vanken's third eye had made him particularly sensitive to the divine beast's death, he became suddenly very eager to leave the island. He seemed to practically hold his breath for the entire effort of the ship repair, and when you were finally out at sea with the island behind you, he laid down on the deck and slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. Vanken eventually found a place as a healer in a small town with a need of one, his unique gift making him a popular man for setting minds at ease, as well as mending bodies. Over time, he has found his visions easier to translate into sensible advice, and he is pleased to finally have found a sense of normalcy. Knowing that returning to Crest would be the end of him, Grieve instead tried to get the word out about the atrocities of the island by notifying the Sarathi authorities through anonymous missives. When the authorities failed to do anything about it, he took the moniker Crowquill and began distributing stories of events on the island to the public at large, leaving them in busy places and generally making himself impossible to find. Though nothing has been done in an official capacity, he buries a wry smile in his beard, and he hears customers gossiping about his latest pages at the smithy where he works, and people have begun independently copying and spreading his work around. Eventually, he tells you, something will snap. Although she had no love for the idea of returning to civilization, you managed to convince Moria that Sarath would offer ample opportunities for a survivalist lifestyle, and she agreed to make the journey with you. Nearly immediately upon arrival, she set out for Sarath's rugged tundra frontiers, and took up a company with a band of loosely affiliated nomads, moving from place to place as the seasons turned, and earned their living by the sweat of their labour. You only saw her once after that, but she was still strong, healthy, and glad to be living a life that she felt she had properly earned. Not finding much demand for his pastries in Sarath, Greening was none the less determined to make an impression on his stubborn orc hosts. He shifted his focus into grilling, and through practice and arcane taboo, I'm just thinking of the goddamn chocolate scene, he was soon able to serve up a rack of barbecued ribs that even an ogre would swoon over. He now wages open war against empty orc bellies in his popular grill pit, where he serves strong sauce and stronger beer, and to his delight he even manages to move a few baskets of butter biscuits now and then. I forget that Lefty is just in that. Initially, Lefty did not want to get on the boat, claiming that it was better for him to just stay and be forgotten. When you tried to convince him, he got agitated, and you fought in the sand. You punched him and told you you weren't leaving him behind, and he held you and wept, with the rest of your band awkwardly trying not to stare. Before long, you were gliding out to sea with Lefty by your side, his swollen black eyes shifting with appreciation. In the years that followed, Lefty was always close by, backing your every move and decision, and he never forgot that you were the only one who had faith in him when he had none in himself. He seemed wholly unbothered by a life of hard labour in his new home among the orcs of Sarath, and he made a point of living somewhere nearby and scarcely went more than a few days without at least stopping by in to see how you were doing. Though he always had a quick temper, he was also loyal and quick to forgive, and you never observed Lefty to be the monster he claimed to be. Grant was reluctant to board the ship at first, but after a heart-to-heart talk he decided that he could always return later, and nervously left his homeland behind him. More than able to keep pace with the orcs of Sarath in terms of physical strength, he busied himself with being generally helpful, and eventually made himself a fixture on the docks in the town where you landed. He often wondered aloud about how long he should stay, and about what he would say to his father when he went home. But one day, one of the other workers at the dock confessed to having feelings for him, and the talk of going home disappeared overnight. They live together now in a cabin they built themselves, and Grant's gruff demeanour seemed to have softer corners. Whether because of his daring or because of his naivete, Wisaka was enthusiastic about the trip to the mainland, and indeed, when he arrived, he made a spectacle of himself almost immediately. Unsure how to react at first, a shocked crowd gathered as Wisaka began to sing and play music, and by the time the guards had arrived to see what the commotion was, people were cheering and throwing him spare coins. He now has a sort of probationary allowance to live and work in town, and he takes full advantage of it, cheerfully socializing with the locals and frequently answering invitations to perform, as curious crowds from far and wide whisper wild rumors of the Howling Bard. Peregrine had previously spent a great deal of time working as a sailor as a cover for his burgling, and he took your move to South as an opportunity to embrace that work full time. It didn't take long to secure a position working on a merchant's ship, and he is now well paid to make shipping runs back and forth for some of the very people he used to burgle. Though he sometimes complains that he misses the excitement, he adds that not having to constantly look over his shoulder for fear and his safety is a nice perk, and he seems content in the choices he has made. Whenever he is in port, he makes a point of checking up on you and stopping by to share a bottle of whatever expensive liquor he's managed to stow away. Logus stuck close to you when you arrived in Sarath. He still had sympathetic contacts there, so he managed to find you shelter and work early on, and generally made the transition to your new surroundings much more agreeable. After a time, he began to feel the call of the sea once again, so he pulled some strings and eventually got put in charge of another ship, working for a private merchant corps. He still tries to stay in touch with you when he can, but he is happy to be back in his element. Seeing his whole world in shambles was painful for him, so convincing Beauregard to come to Sarath with you was not difficult. He had even been there once before, hundreds of years past, and seemed eager to see their progress. He eventually found himself in a place in one of the many Sarathi military schools, where spending his time training and parenting the young orc boys seemed to soothe his confusion, and his mood lightened considerably in the years that followed. He never had a chance at marrying, but surrounded as he is by his adopted nephews, his life is a happy one. Upon arriving in Sarath, Rosalind did exactly what she said she would do. She found herself a bawdy, bustling tavern and refused to leave until they hired her on as a dancer. More than capable of handling herself in a rough crowd, she now dances burlesque to the delight of throngs of merrily drunken orcs, and she finds herself rather fond of the attention she gets. She now makes plenty enough coin in tips to clothe herself in lavish silks and fine jewellery, and has a long list of devoted admirers. She still worries that someday her old troop will catch up with her, but for the time being, she's meeting life head-on, and having a lot of fun in the process. When you arrived, Shapiro began to go through some old guild contacts he had, and quickly found himself a fairly discreet position in a Tsarathi guild sect. Though the facilities are not as convenient as he was previously used to, he found the differences in approach and attitude to be both fascinating and liberating, and manages to conduct his research more freely than before. He's currently mentoring several young orcs as apprentices, and on the rare occasion when you see him, he speaks of them incessantly. He's often critical of their progress, but he's clearly glad to have students once again, and overall, he seems happy with his life. Borfalga was eager to see the outside world of Lakat, and made the journey to Sarath with you, unafraid of the consequences. Though his reception in Sarath was not exactly warm, he was for the most part tolerated. One day in the marketplace, thanks to his keen eye for jewellery, he spotted a trailer selling fake stones and managed to very publicly prove the man's fraud. He was approached by a merchant and offered an ongoing job overseeing and appraising valuables. He draws a lot of business to the shop on his novelty alone, and he gets to see an endless parade of priceless treasures brought before him, all without having to leave his lavish accommodations, and he seems happy with the place he's found himself. There you go. Kardag the Buggerer. Served 4 years, 1 moon, 3 weeks, 1 day. Wow. Well then. We killed 2,445 enemies, we spared 92 of them. Well, yeah. I think you'd have to work very, very hard in order to, go a mainly pacifist run, don't you? Allies abandoned 1, there's 1 that you can't avoid abandoning. Only 4 got injured, and most of those were due to cutscenes. We trusted 30 of them. Strongholds held 10. We committed 1 assault? I don't actually remember that, to be honest. Total playtime is 73 hours, 42 minutes, and 50 seconds. Results. Kardag escaped from Lakat. Thank you for playing, Bastard Bonds. So that's the, that's not the ending that we want to stay with, I guess. I guess it's considered more the canonical ending is to go with Barod's plan. So, I guess we're going to do that in the next episode, and that can be our ultimate finale. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. We're almost done. We're almost done. And we get to cry a lot of tears.